In preparation for Cyberpunk 2077's Phantom Liberty DLC, I decided to create a brand new character and check out the current state of the game before the big 2.0 update. Now, I was very fortunate when Cyberpunk 2077 came out because I played on an Xbox One X and I had an okay experience. Now, you could scrutinise that okay a lot, but in all fairness, I was able to play through the story pretty well. I was able to put aside a very strategically placed save and get 4 out of the 5 endings. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the 5th ending because I'd gone past the sort of point of no return. But either way, I was still able to get the main endings that are somewhat canonical to the characters that you meet along the way. So for me, the main problem I had in terms of like issues and bugs was the facial textures just not loading when you'd go into new buildings. The AI was bad at the time, so especially in terms of police, but the like NPCs just walking on the streets just wouldn't do anything. And I've actually put in this recording, in the video that you're watching, a bit from my character now in the current state of the game, just standing still and just watching the traffic and just the pedestrians going about their day-to-day business. And I thought it was quite interesting thinking back to how it was in 2020 when I first played it, and they just wouldn't do anything, and you could see like it was almost like a factory line of like pedestrians leaving out of view and then coming back into view and just walking past you, and it would be the same ones over and over. And in this particular like clip that I put together, I actually decided to sit and watch the traffic as well, because I felt like previously you just wouldn't get any car spawn. So I think I went for the whole game in V's base car, which was pretty cool. I didn't mind that car actually, but like you barely ever see other cars, and it was only when you went through certain aspects of Night City where you would get a few others load in, but most of the time the streets were dead. So it was a bit of a weird it did feel, considering the whole point of this Night City is it's like a living city, it was pretty much a dead city, to be honest. So I think the clip that I've shown in the background now shows like a little bit more of the updates they've made to the pedestrian area, where it is a bit more interactive, like you do have a presence with respect to them. And I also decided to like fire off a gun, which kind of ended up in a bit of a funny situation between a random pedestrian that now obviously reacts to you doing that, and also a random gang member that also saved me, so that was quite funny. Now I do appreciate that they've made the customization of like hair and facial features a little bit better in the post character creation like game, because obviously before you just couldn't do anything. Once you're done, and that's it. And that was a bit of an annoyance against like what they originally offered and just completely fell short on. So I am pleased that those elements are back. I mean, there's still a lot, I think, when it comes to like building your character. Like this is why a game like this attracts a large audience, because people want to be able to be who they see themselves as, and also who they feel that they are in a game like this, where they can just kind of play along and be that person. And I do feel like there's still an element of you can't get all the clothing you see on NPCs, which is a shame because some of those clothing looks really good, and I think some people would like to wear that clothing. So that's still, I mean, I will be honest, actually, I should point out that I haven't played too much yet. I've probably put about maybe 10 to 15 hours in, which isn't that much when you think about a brand new play. But I'm also cautious of that the new trailer and the new footage they released, they did say that you'd be able to sort of play directly from the start of the DLC, kind of similar to what they did in Witcher 3, where you could just instantly start Blood and Wine and Heart of Stone. So, which I'll be honest, I do really love that feature. I think it's a fantastic idea to do DLC like that. So yeah, so I think that's still, there are still bits like that, and even, like I was saying with the, the NPCs and the pedestrian, the cars and that kind of interaction, you still don't get a lot to do. Just walking through the streets, like it feels good, like it feels more lively now, I will say that. Like you do feel like, you are there and you're in this sort of environment. However, there's still not a lot to do if you want to truly embrace like a role-playing kind of aspect to Cyberpunk, which I think a lot of people do. I think people really do like to sort of sit in the seat and really be that character of V, and make the choices that they see fit. Now, when I first played in 2020, when it first came out and it was just my first playthrough of the game, I barely picked any perks or, any abilities at all. I think all I did was upgrade tech ability so I could get through doors easier. That's about it. I really didn't create a proper character because I felt like at the time you could just walk in and hack and slash, and that worked most of the time. Like, you didn't really have to do it. I barely used any of the hacking features or breaching protocols or anything like that. I just kind of ran in guns blazing. And now I've sort of, there's a lot of good build guides out there that you can sort of look at and find a character you want to build. I have decided to make like a bit of a net runner, but I've kind of sort of hybrided it with a bit of the engineer class as well, so it's kind of a net runner, but I'm only using pistols and shotguns and that's it, like no other guns unless I'm forced to use like a sniper rifle, for example. So I'm sort of trying to keep that character role playing in line, and it's been quite fun actually so far. I've actually had quite a lot of fun with it. It's been quite good to just play around with the quick hacks and build up that skill tree, but I know they have done a lot with that now. They've really kind of fleshed it out, made it a little bit more concise and more easy to read and understand, because like I say, I beat the game 4 endings without hardly any perks at all, which is obviously doable in any game. Like, you don't have to pick perks if you don't want to, but there should be an incentive to pick perks. So it was always just a weird one that, like, there wasn't a need to do it, which was a bit of a shame really, because I felt like it just pulled me out of my character and what I wanted to do with it. But I do think that was a result of the fact that the first person combat was quite basic, and I remember on console specifically there was an issue. I can't remember exactly what it was now, but I felt like auto aim didn't work that well, and I felt like there were times where I really struggled with the combat, and eventually I think this is why I ended up being just a straightforward melee character and just battered everyone, because it was just simpler to do it that way instead. But I think that's going to be it for now. I am really looking forward to the Phantom Liberty DLC actually, and I think I'm hopeful that, hopefully they've got to the point now where they know that if they say they're going to do something, they're going to have to do it, because there's a lot of good content coming, and I'm happy to give them a chance, to be honest, but I know a lot of people won't. So I think a lot of people will be looking at streamers, looking at content creators to really be honest about the Phantom Liberty DLC and the changes that are going to be making. I know I'll probably do something along that line as well, and hopefully it will be good. So with that, that's all from me. I hope you have a great day.